Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Overlay, a poker podcast brought to you by Paramount Social Club and CCG Poker Radio. I'm with my co-host, Brandon.
What's up?
Hey, Brandon, how are you?
I'm here. I'm alive and well.
Are you locked out of your apartment still, or are you inside?
No, I'm inside, but these roofers are right above me right now.
Yeah, you're like on life tilt right now.
I'm a little bit tilted.
Because
I really am.
Like, Brandon never calls me before like 8, and you're like, man, these roofers get here at 6 a.m. This is awful.
I don't know if that's how it's legal.
Yeah, I know.
I'm on the top floor, too, and like I hear them walking around at like 6:15 this morning.
Yeah, that's...
No, they didn't start banging and like ripping off the roof until like 7. But I mean, they're
walking around.
They're walking around. 12 of them up there.
Yeah, that's loud. It's no bueno.
No bueno.
All right, so episode 30. Can you believe we've done 30 episodes so far?
Well, I mean, really, we've done 29.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brandon, can you believe we've done 29 episodes so far?
No, I can't believe it. That's amazing.
We've gotten almost 4,000 downloads. So thank you to everyone who has subscribed, rated, and reviewed, come out and seen us. I kid you not, I was at, where was I at? Was that Oakland this weekend? We were there on Friday. And the guy was like, hey, man, I heard your podcast, so I came out and played at the event at CCG. And I was like, GTFO, get out of here. He's like, yeah.
It's like, wow.
It's like super nuts right there. Like, that's the best thing that's we could have hoped for.
I mean, that's pretty sweet. Getting a customer from the podcast is like huge.
30 episodes. So thank you to everyone who listens and continues to support. Thank you to everyone who continues to support CCG, and to our Texas fans. Ken is going to be making a trip out to beautiful Houston, Texas, first Saturday of November, which is their stack day. Which is very similar to the stack day here in Chicago, which I'm bringing up because we've done 2 stack tournaments post-COVID, and they have been bananas, correct?
Yeah, too big.
You experienced the one on Sunday at Batavia. But,
and the other one at Sunday on Batavia too. Both of them.
Yeah, they both been in Batavia. But this last weekend in Batavia, we had almost 70 players. It was 69, and I literally could not. Every single person I said 69 to. This is the adult mentality at poker events. They're like, how many runners today in the stack? And I was like, 69. They're like, hee 69. I'm like, dude, you're like 70. It's
right,
kind of.
That was funny.
I did it, but I'm 40, and then I have the maturity of like a 12-year-old. So I understand it. But anyways, my whole point was I'm going to be down in Houston for the stack tournament down there, and they get huge stacks in Texas. Like in Texas, it's no joke. When they say a stack tournament, you get $60K, which is the norm, but they do a $60 $60K add-on at break. Boom. Yeah. They also
Everything's bigger in Texas.
Yeah, they also do a single rebuy or a single re-entry. I shouldn't say rebuy. If you have a trouble with the rebuy re-entry debate, go ahead and listen to episode 2, Super Plug in there by Ken. But yeah, so I'm excited to do that. We're going to fire up the RFID table, live stream that bad boy. So if you guys are our Texas fans, thanks for listening, and check that out first Saturday of November. Actually, probably the stream will be on the first Sunday of November because it'll be really early in the morning, but either way, it's Saturday night. Come out and check it out. But I had something I wanted to say about Sunday's event. We had a CCG all-time first. You want to lay it on us?
I don't know oh, no, it's not an all-time first, but I will lay it on us.
How is that not an all-time first?
Because we've done it before, but I'll explain.
Okay,
when the lights went out at
darn it,
VFW West Chicago.
All right, so it's close.
Which was also my idea 10 years prior.
You were ahead of the curve.
That's when I was an early bird dealer back then. Anyways, yeah, so with the COVID restrictions, oh man, they are just banging right above me. I'm sorry for
we can't hear anything. No, we're good. Okay, I don't hear anything. Sweet. So yeah, it's great.
So COVID restrictions, 50 players maximum. We did reserve one table for a cash game, which leaves us with basically 42 players to play in the stack tournament. We sold out 7 tables of 6, which is 42 by
at like 11:40,
11:45, 15 minutes before the tournament started.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had 12 on the list for a cash game. We got up to like 25 on the list for the stack, and I was like, we got to do something here. So we just threw 2 tables outside underneath the awning and ran a cash game and another table in the stack outdoors.
Basically in the parking lot.
in the parking lot at 3:00 in the afternoon. I mean, it was a nice day. It was 75.
Oh, it
a
was
little
gorgeous
windy,
outside.
but I mean, we just made it work.
I like it.
And it worked.
CCG
I
first.
think it was
They actually played outside, which was great.
And it was like an outdoor feeder table. So like every time there was a seat open inside, somebody from outside got to pop inside, and then the alternate list. So everybody that was on the alternate list just got fed outdoors, and then people kept on coming in. So
Right.
you didn't have to spend too much time out there. I think, the longest guy maybe spent an hour out there.
Yeah, it was just a nice way to get people to kind of rotate in.
I mean, hey, if my options are play outside for an hour or wait
and miss all of those early levels, yeah, it works out really well.
It's obviously going to be play outside. So that's how we were able to get 69 people in a 42 max tournament.
Correct. Which they even do an extra table in the stack tournament, but still good.
Right, because normally it's 36. We went up to 42, and then it was just bananas.
And still, it got a huge thing. All right, anyway.
And this is Batavia.
I know.
Remind you.
Batavia's rocking now.
So now that we're 9 minutes in and the episode's half over, what are we going to talk about?
We are going to talk today, episode 30, the massive debate of online poker versus live poker. Pros, cons, benefits, disadvantages, game selection, other type things that Brandon, I'm sure, has prepared himself for, but just the idea of live versus online. That's what we're talking about today.
Are we just going to dive right in?
Yeah, dive right in. We've already recapped the last 2 weeks that we were on a little hiatus. We've been on vacation.
I was on strike for a pay raise.
I was actually on vacation. Then when I came back, Brandon tried to orchestrate a strike. And here we are now, union leaders meeting and hanging out and having fun. So
I won this negotiation, guys, in case you're wondering.
Yeah.
I think
it's make believe. Go ahead. Might as well.
Yeah, might as well go with
it. Might as well say you won. Yeah, for sure.
I think obviously the biggest pro of online poker is just simply that you can stay at home in your underwear and play poker.
Legitimately.
I mean, that has its advantages in and of itself. You do not have to
get dressed.
Get up, get dressed, drive to the casino,
park,
tip the valet guy $5.
Yep.
Walk through the smoky casino.
Which, can I interject here for a moment that I think it is incredibly important. If you're not a big, like, I've worked, every job I've ever had has been in the service industry, bartender, caddy, working at a golf course, whatever the case may be. Most of the jobs I've ever done has been tip heavy. So like, I get it when you work for tips in the past. I currently don't work for tips anymore, but you're used to it. Like, you take care of those people. And I always find that, like, being you don't have to be a crazy tipper. I'm not throwing out like 20s, like a 5 every here and there. If you guys tip the valet person at the casino,
more than $1.
I mean, give them more than $1. Like, it's literally like, you got to tip those guys. They're driving your car. You want your car banged, dented up. They're going to get that tip one way or the other. You either slip the kid a 5, or they're going to steal all the change out of your car. Maybe they let the air out of the tires. Maybe they siphon some gas off. I don't know, but I don't want to know what the differences are. You should definitely always tip your valet guy.
Or just, $2 when they park it and $2 when they get it, if you don't want to, like a 2 and 2, something like that. Like, because a lot of people don't tip both times, which I can see not tipping both times every time. But if I get like my 1 or 2 dudes that park my car every time, like, I'm going to give them a tip, like, to park it. And then,
yeah, for sure.
Especially if you're a Diamond member and you're for free, it's already free.
Right. Tip. Sorry, I just totally derailed the conversation there between live versus online. But one of the best things about live poker is that you should be tipping your valet person. 100%. Tip them. Otherwise, your car is going to be just gone. Anyways, live versus
just
online.
Gone. Yeah, I mean, Jordan Hellstern, who was on episode 6, he used to say he would just smoke weed in everyone's car that they didn't tip.
Mm-hmm.
When he worked for Chicago Cut or one of the
bad.
steakhouses.
Shouldn't do it. Be careful.
Yep. Anyways, so biggest pro right off the bat is you can do it from the comfort of your house.
Underwear.
Now, let's think of some more pros from the online sector. I guess let's stay there. I mean, one of the other big pros is that you can multi-table, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that to me would be a huge deciding factor, because the one thing that I find, and I think every player does in live at some way, shape, or form, is that you're going to eventually get bored. And Brandon, you can attest, you have seen me play many times. I start off like Daniel
Excited, ready to
freaking
go.
Negreanu. Like I am on point. I know what I'm doing. I've got ranges. I'm making solid bets. Then I start finding videos on my phone, or I'm looking on Twitter, and then I start turning into a Doug Polk, and then I digress all the way down to me.
Right.
A
You.
shitty poker player who should just not be there. I'm just that idiot at the table just pumping off cash because I'm too busy watching stuff on my phone rather than actually playing poker. So, benefit of online is if you can multi-table, you don't really have any downtime. Like if you're playing three or
Right.
four tables, I don't even think I could play 3 or 4 Omaha games at once. But if I was playing 4, no limit cash
MTTs.
games
Yeah.
or tournaments, I mean, tournaments is even better because, like, if you're ever going to be bored playing poker, it's in a tournament where you're really trying to wait for those primo hands or premium spots at least. It's boring. Like,
Right.
I have trouble. I literally, not to say that I'm such a good poker player that I would win more money if I could keep
Well,
myself.
you definitely win more money if you. Yeah.
I would, but
you wouldn't lose less. You'd lose
right,
less.
I'd lose
at
less.
least.
But certainly, I think that's a huge benefit for online. But continue.
So, branching off on that, the better poker player you are, the higher your win rate is going to be if you can play more tables. Like there's so many opportunities, like on a Sunday on PokerStars to win $50,000. Like there's 20 tournaments that first place is 50,000.
Right. It's
and
like,
if you're just playing, if you bust, you can just play more and more and more. It's never ending. That also has some downsides if you go on downers, or if you're not as good, or if you're like, say, a fish, you're going to go bust probably quicker because
me.
your money doesn't last as long when there's unlimited opportunities to just click enter, boom, and you're in something.
Right.
Like when you drive to the Horseshoe to play the 1650 main event, like you're probably going to lose 1650. Like,
Well, and on the same token, like, oh no, because I'm playing blackjack and I'm at least going to lose 1655 because I got to tip that guy at the valet at least something.
that's true.
I always tip on the way in case I don't have any money on the way out.
Smart.
And it is
I
my
always
favorite.
tip on the way in because I usually only have hundreds on the way out.
Oh, nice. This opposite problem. Plus, I
Right.
always like it when I get to tell the kid, leave it running and keep it up front. If I'm not back in 10 minutes, park it.
Yeah, that is your line.
That's my line.
Bigger prize pools online, right?
Well, yeah, bigger. I was going to say too, like
spinning off of
the thing with the live part, like, which I find to be an advantage for myself is when I'm going to go play a big tournament like a WSOP, like a ring event at the Horseshoe where it's a large buy-in, $1,100, $1,600, and I gear up for it. Like I'm like preparing myself. I get snacks. I pack an Indiana Jones satchel to bring with me. I've got batteries. I am in for the long. I'm mentally preparing myself to play poker over a long period of time. Whereas I feel like online, it's so easy, which again is the benefit, right? That's one of the advantages. But I feel like for me, it is a minor disadvantage because I never have that time to prepare. I've got an hour and 15 minutes from my house to the valet guy at the Horseshoe. This is really the only other place I play live. That's an hour and 15 minutes of like prep talk, getting ready to go.
Right.
What am I going to
Yep.
do? I'm gonna play good today. I'm not gonna make any stupid 3 bets. I'm not gonna get mad at anybody and do anything dumb. I'm not gonna drink any or smoke pot. I don't really fall into those categories, but like you give yourself that pep talk, which I guarantee you that 30 seconds it takes to boot up the computer and log into PokerStars, if that was a thing, I don't think that it's definitely a disadvantage for me.
For sure. No, that's definitely mental preparedness and excitement, general excitement. I'm obviously you're excited
Well, that's
to play
true,
online poker
too,
too, but I mean, the odds are is if you're playing the big $1 million guaranteed on PokerStars, which is a 109 or a 215 or whatever it is these days, I'm not sure since we can't play in this wonderful country of ours.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably playing other stuff as well. And I mean, like obviously as you advance into the tournament, maybe you don't register for the hot 44 because you're really deep in something, but there's other stuff going on, and you don't have doesn't have the same.
Doesn't have the same
100% of
feeling.
your focus
Right.
is on that, because when you're at the Horseshoe in that room that's dead silent besides the chips, like you are focused on, like that is your only thing going on.
Correct.
In your world.
And it's funny because I prepare like a bag of goodies to like deal with my boredom. Like I'm bringing coloring books for my kids to the restaurant if I don't have an iPad, although I have my iPad as well. But I have the adult version of coloring books, not adult coloring books, but like, I've got other stuff to play with. And I never use it. Like, I bring all of these things. I'm the kid that brings a bag full of shit to the road trip and then just looks outside the window.
Game Boy,
yeah, I don't even do it. I don't. Yeah, I brought all of this stuff. Didn't play with any of it. What else you got for online bonuses?
I don't know. Well, I mean, online, you know.
I like.
I do have.
ahead.
I have
Sorry.
one. I have one. So I'm not sure if this is really a advantage or disadvantage, but it's a difference. Is the separation of buy-ins and how easy it is to bankroll manage on the internet compared to
that's
live.
interesting. Yeah, because you have to actually like deposit money on, right?
Not only that, but there's just such a wide range of stakes. I mean, you can go like 25, 50 cent is $50 max. And then you can cut that in half and go 5 cent, 10 cent, or 10 cent, 25 cent, which is 25 max. And then 50 cent a dollar, which is 100 max, and $1, $2, which is 200 max. So it's all kind of structured right there for like the 100 big blind maximum buy-in, where you're not going to have this wide range of like all the games aren't created equal by any means on the internet, but they're all so similar. Like every 1-2 game on the internet is going to be like the stacks are going to be almost the same. And obviously there's going to be, you know, pros and fish and all these games. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying like the structure is exactly 100 big blind everyone. I know it's 200 max at the shoe in every 1-2 game, but it varies so much and it's so hard. Like you don't get any lower than $1, $2 at the shoe. So you can't just lose half your bankroll and then move down to 50 cents a dollar and then move
interesting.
Down
I wasn't like, no, that's huge. I think that's a great idea. If you can, it's what you talked about. It's easier to have bankroll management where you can regress, right? I mean,
right.
I always
and progress.
Right. I always did the progressing and then never regressed enough to keep my money.
So it's just a lot easier. And obviously, you know, that's a two-edged sword. It's also the opposite where you got 1,000 in your account. You can just rip it into a 5-10 game and try and spin it up. Like you have that opportunity. And, you know, I can remember being a 15-year-old kid playing on like Poker Room or Party Poker. And I'm just like hopping into a 15-30 limit game and just clicking a couple buttons and trying to make a hand and call the second pair and then leave and hitting and running. And, you know, like, that's obviously available, but I'm thinking in terms of, you know, you taking this seriously and being a semi-professional or professional, you have all the tools to bankroll management much easier. Like you have all the tools to tilt off all your money too, but assuming that you can get that out of your mentality that you're just never going to do that, you have all the tools to swing up and down. I'm
going to bring that into two things. One, I almost think that's a benefit for online is that you can hit and run. If you hit a big double up, like I have never gone to a casino or to a poker game, doubled up on the first or second hand, right? Tripled up, whatever the case is. And then I just stick around because it's like, well, I already drove all the way over here. I'm already here. Like, I'm going to keep playing. Like, it's not like it would be so nice to be able to be online. And, you know, I don't know if this is
Plus,
ethically
you don't
right
see
or
these
wrong.
guys face to face.
Absolutely.
The guy's going to
triple
be like,
up in a
hit and run.
Right.
Mother.
Freaking cash out, buy back in for a minute, and bank that extra 2x buy-in. You know, I got 2 bullets
move
for free.
Over to the next
table,
the next one,
which you can't do in a live game because you will just get beat up and you physically are not allowed to do it. But I think that's a huge benefit. The other one that you were talking about is just with software in general. If you're playing, you know, Zip Poker Stars or the other games, I mean, it's nice that they have those, like you can see people's VPIPs and you can see their aggression and all of those other important statistics that I don't pay attention to.
HUDs are very important.
Is that what that's called?
HUD, heads up display.
Oh, nice.
It basically, you know, gives you at least some insight on a player. And, you know, it only runs on the hands that you have played against them. So, I mean, if you've never played a guy, like it still has to build its, you know, statistics. You know, it's all you get all of the guys' statistics from all. You only get its run against you. So if you've never played the guy before, you know, you're going to have zero information on him. But 4 hours into playing with him, the software has now built it's got
data to produce. Yeah,
it has a little bit of a profile that, you know, you can kind of see like, oh man, this guy's really tight. If you haven't been paying attention as much, it will pay attention for you.
Or, I mean, and the same thing that we talked about from before. I mean, if you're multi-tabling, playing 4 or 5 cash games, you're not going to be able to be there for when you fold and watch 2 different players play out. Whereas with that heads up HUD.
The software will be there for you.
That software will be there for you, that if it does have that information, it's like, oh shit, this guy's really not putting in a lot of money, and now he just 3-bet me on the turn. Like, maybe I should be thinking
when his
about
VPIP
this.
is 8% and his 3-bet is 1%, and you raise with ace king and he 3-bets you, like normally you'd be like, oh, fist pump all in.
Yeah.
But this guy, it's like, whoa, hold on.
Maybe not.
He's putting 8% of the pot, 8% of the time he's voluntarily putting in chips, which is already really low. And he's 3-betting 1%. I mean, 1% of hands is basically the aces and kings. And obviously, if that's over 10 hands, it doesn't mean anything. But if it's over 1,000 hands and he's only 3-bet 10 times,
right,
in 1,000 hands, all of a sudden you're like, I'm out of here.
You can safely say that your ace king's probably no good.
Right. And it just, you have that equipment is what I'm saying. And you also have, and piggybacking off of that, I mean, there's also Shark Scope, which is, how you can see a player's like all-time stats. And I had a buddy in college, he would just play $100 heads ups, but he would never sit first, and he would always wait, and he would just Shark Scope the person seated. And if he was bad, he'd play him, and if he was good, he wouldn't. And it's called bum hunting. And I mean, it's a pretty like controversial, maybe not that ethical thing. You're a little scummy, but I mean, to me, that's just like using your advantages,
right?
And I mean, to be honest, the guys that were sitting were all the mega crushers, anyways. So all the fish usually sat second, so you couldn't do that against them. But I mean,
right?
If you search the guy and he's up 140,000, and you see that he's one of the top 5 heads up 109 players in the world, why would you ever play him? If you see a guy who's got a little fish next to his name and is down 41,000 and plays everything, you're obviously going to sit and play him. And I mean, you can make those general assumptions at the horseshoe when, you see a guy, you're like, this guy can't be any good, but you don't really know for sure. Like, Shark Scope tells you kind of for sure, like, this guy stinks.
Really narrows down the ding-dongs from the sharks, so to speak.
Yeah. So that's a lot online and why it's better. How about some live, why live is better?
I mean, live, you get the social aspect, right? Like, you get to be out, you get to be around people.
One.
Like, it's super nice to be, like, if you were a businessman, and I think this is what a lot of people do, if you were a guy or a girl who travels for work, and you're in a random town where you don't know anybody, it's so nice to be able to go to the casino and play 1-2, because for $200 buy-in, right? Like, that's a pretty average 1-2 buy-in. I mean, you can even do it for less. I mean, that's a really good time to be able to go out and be around other people. Otherwise, what are you going to do? Like, go to the hotel bar? Like, I went
Plus
to Texas.
You have a lot in common already with those 9 or 8 people that are playing poker.
Exactly.
You at least have something to build on.
There are not many games in the world that you can go to, like, other than like sitting at the hotel bar, and then you're just like a kind of a drunk at a bar hanging out with. And I'm not down and on drinking. I'm just saying, like, it's just an awkward feeling. It's like, well, is this person trying to pick me up? No guy thinks a girl is trying to pick him up at the poker table when they're just talking about whatever. Oh, that hand I had ace king. Blah, blah, blah. Like, you can talk about things. There's a social aspect to live poker. I find it's really fun, and part of the reason why I don't ever use any of the stuff in my bag of tricks in a long tournament, like a WSOP or something, is because I end up talking to other people at the table. You just start striking up conversations just out of sheer boredom. And then there's moments of like the not awkward silence. You can watch the TVs. Like, it's such a fun atmosphere where if you want to get engaged, and there's so many people
Plus, there's sports on TVs. There's somebody sweating something. There's poker.
And you can still drink. It's like you add this other element, which like makes it safe and fun, where you're not worried about like, doing anything. I don't know. It's nice. Not that you should be nervous at bars. I'm just saying, like, it's more fun. You got to. I find it's a great way for people to do it. And I think it's something that a lot of people do to kind of get out and be around others, like-minded people. I think that's a huge advantage and something that online will never be able to replace, unless they come up with some
online
cool
just seems
VR.
Just seems more degenerate a little bit, right? Yeah. I mean,
play whenever you want.
Right. 24 hours a day, you got it. You can access it instantly. Like, the money's not real money, and I know the money's not real money in the poker room either, because it's all chips.
It's even further removed, right?
It's another place removed, yeah. Because not only is it not chips, like, you don't even have the chips.
Nah,
like, it's
fake.
It's just a
completely fake.
A number. I mean, you spin it up. I mean,
it's like a video game.
I've spun it up to 20,000. You don't have any idea what that 20,000 feels like in cash. It feels nothing like
again
200.
If you were sitting at a 2-5 game and PLO or whatever and somehow manage to have 20,000 in chips in front of you, I guarantee you, there is zero chance that you're going to lose that money that night. Like, you're just going to get up, leave, maybe dump off a little bit, have a few more drinks than you normally would, enjoy the win, and then go home with a big fat winner. Whereas I think we've all done it. You run up your $100 on the poker sites into $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10, $12,000. It's like, next thing I know, I'm playing $1,000 heads up matches where I'm the guy getting bum hunted, and next thing you know, I'm not gonna let that guy beat me. Next thing I know, I lose all my money and back down to nothing. Thinking, that was stupid. Why'd I do that? It's not real.
Yeah, it's really not. But it is. I know I keep going back to the positives, but I just really miss the days that you can just grind all like it just seems like such a hassle. And I know this is going back to live being a negative thing, but it just seems like such a process. And as much as you take that hour and 15-minute drive to prepare yourself and get all giddy for, like, you got to drive all the way to the Horseshoe, pay the $5 toll twice to play at the Skyway.
Oh yeah,
tip the guy $5 twice to park your car, eat a $20 Horseshoe dinner that sucks, all to go there and pay 12% rake to the WSOP in a tournament that if you win, you got to pay taxes on, that you're probably not going to win anyway because every single pro in the country is playing in, like, all for that one shot of that one tournament where you can just fire up 4 of those bad boys at any time on the internet. You know what I mean?
No, it's 100% true. And we've all done it. I mean, you know,
like, it was just so nice to be in college and be like, you know what? I'm going to grind out.
I remember the old days, like on a Sunday, you know, being single, no kids, and like my wife's at work, and I'm like, this is great. I could just pop on $50 on Full Tilt. I mean, because this is how long ago it is for me that I played online poker. I mean, I just put $50 on Full Tilt, $100 on Full Tilt. And next thing you know, I can play these, you know, I mean, the old days of like the glory days of online poker where you're playing these massive freaking prize pools and it's like an $8 ticket, you know?
Yeah,
it's
$5.50 to get in, and then it's like $15,000 to the winner.
Right. Like, that's like astronomical money. There's no way that live poker could ever compete with that scenario, right?
And the rake.
The no tipping, the better rake, you know, the ease of use, getting in and out quickly. You never have to wait, right? Like, that's the other nice thing. And I know we're kind of piling on the positives. I mean, we've mentioned negatives too for online, but I mean, those are the
online
huge.
Is that every single pro is playing online because that's where they can maximize their win rate.
Right.
I mean, you're never like every pro is out there. Like, if you go to America's Card Room, which we're not, you know, advertising for them, they're, you know, unregulated. It's not legal. It's not illegal. Who knows what it is? You got to buy with Bitcoin, cash out Bitcoin. You know, it's a little bit in that gray area.
It is what it is.
Like,
yeah.
The only guys that are like, not the only guys, but 90% of the fishes aren't like depositing on there. And maybe that's changed a little bit since COVID, but like, the only people left grinding online poker are the grinders.
Right.
Because the only ones that are willing to take
the players are better.
Right. The players are better. And like, you don't have ESPN running or America's Card Room advertisements all the time like you had Full Tilt running back then. You don't get all these new guys that are like, I'll try out playing online poker and click in and buy 200. No, the only guys that are playing are pros trying to bink something, but it's all against pros. Like, that's a big negative. It's like, I will never play ACR is because they're too good. Like, I have no shame in playing that and in saying that. Like, my buddy Eric, he's probably the best PLO player I ever will meet or ever know. Like, he was grinding ACR like for the promos because he was breaking even. And granted, he was breaking even because he was playing 10 PLO tables at once. It's very hard to win playing that many. But like, he was grinding just the promo because he was a break-even player, and he's
just
so
to get
much
the
more of
back.
a break, and he's so much more of a break-even player live. But when you get online and you get all these wizards that are all playing against each other, they're just grinding the rake back, and it's like, is that really even fun anymore?
Right.
No. You can go to the Horseshoe, you can see 3 drunk guys and 2 guys that have no idea what they're doing. Like, every night.
I have a flush, and they just have the ace of spades.
Correct.
Right. And I'm like, I love that guy.
Yeah, and it's just so fun to play with a fish live and just entertain them and have fun. And, you know, if you lose to them,
that because Vinny told me the best pro live, like low stakes live pro, if that's what you want to be or that's what you claim for yourself. And he was like, I'm not a live stakes, grinder. He's like, I'm an entertainer. My job is to entertain the fish. Like, that's it.
Yep.
That's all I'm supposed to do is entertain the fish so that they have a good time giving me their money, which I thought was great.
It is, because all these people, like, they just like want to bash on these guys for being bad, calling them a 6-deuce offsuit. It's like, dude, these are the people that are keeping the game running. Like, these are the people that make it so you show up. Like, don't be mad that you lost them. Like, I understand it sucks, but like, take it on the chin and be like, I'm gonna get it all later. And if I don't get it all later, like that, like my line is like, the fish got to win sometimes, or they'll never come back.
Correct.
And like, if it's against you, like, that's unfortunate, but like, just be happy that they're there. Like, don't be mad at the result.
I tried to explain that.
Like, you need to entertain the fish. Like, they need to have a good time losing their money, or they're not going to keep losing their money.
Never.
And we always go on the line that, like, John, Greek John, he does such a great job of it. He does.
He is a pro at that. He's incredibly good at making people feel good about losing their money while playing.
Right, because he makes them feel good when they win his money too. On the rare those occasions, he never
bitches, he never yells.
Like, the most condescending, line will be like, he's like, oh, that guy makes my Mustang payment every month, so I can't be mad at him. But I mean, if that's as bad as you're going to be, that's just great.
All right, so I'm going to throw you a question here. Episode 30 of The Overlay. Final decision, $1 million question. If you had to choose, no, let's not worry about regulations or anything like that, but if you had to choose that you could only play live or online for the rest of your life, which one would you choose? Now, again, you cannot play the other. Like, you are literally saying, I will only choose one, either live or online forever.
I don't want to comp out here with like a question that, or an answer that has both sides. But if it was like the old days, it would be online. Like these days,
no, today, as of right now, let's say right now,
2021.
Yeah. They'd be like, cool. Online poker is legal, but you have to decide by January 1 of 21. Your decision is, do you ever want to play live poker, or do you only want to play online poker? And you got to get like a passport, like an online vendor card. Only those people who chose yes on that January 1st.
Yeah, that's tough.
What would you choose? Because like,
so like online,
a lot of people are going to choose
like
online. Anyways, go ahead.
Like, so online poker is like legal. Like, we can play Poker Stars right here from my room.
It's only legal for the people who decided on that day.
Correct.
They are going to be online only.
I'd pick online.
Really?
Yeah.
I think the smart play, the positive EV play there, if you're playing Game Theory Optimal Lauden's game, which we mildly were going to hit up here because we said we were going to talk about it. One of these prop bets, I would never want to play online only, because for me the social aspect is incredibly important. I want to see other people cry a little bit at the poker table. I get off on when a guy goes bust. It's there's a line in one of my favorite movies, and I in no way case have ever said or done this, but it's just a really cool line by Christopher Walken. It was in a movie called Pool Hall Junkies, and like the one guy is trying to hustle the other guy, and Christopher Walken's like this millionaire, and there's like this pool shark, and blah 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 blah, and they're gonna end up playing for like $80,000 for like one more game. And Christopher Walken, let's see how good my Christopher Walken impersonates. He's like, I want you to go out, and he's like, follows 80 grand. I go out and get another 80 grand. I want to make sure you're broke. You got nothing left. I don't know if that was very good Christopher Walken, but it wasn't terrible. Like, I like that feeling. Like, I not only want to bust you at the table, I want to know you can't go to the ATM. You can't go home. Best case of you getting any more money to get into this game is getting on a ski mask, going to 7-Eleven, and bringing some of that money back here for me to win again. Like, I like that part, and I don't feel like you ever get that, like, that kind of
satisfaction
on the internet, because it's always like trolls talking. I remember back in the old days, be like, man, if this was real, I'd kick your ass. Yeah, say that to my face. Like, I mean, it was so dumb. I don't know why I engaged in it. It was part of my need of that social interaction of shit talking, but
I think quarantine has made me realize that I don't need online poker as much as I thought, or I don't need live poker as much as I thought I did.
That's true.
Like, honestly, I don't miss it. Like, I really don't. Like, I don't miss going to the horseshoe that much.
I miss
like if the horseshoe opened up today and they're like, everything's good, there's no more corona, like, I don't think I'd go today.
Really? So you would pick?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I would pick. I want to say I would pick live poker, but I also know that I think the majority of people would want to play online.
Yeah, well, I think it's just like where you're
It's
at in your
just
life.
it's
Like,
so
I think
easy.
if like you
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to say your age, but you're
I'm
40
40.
years old. Like,
I got 3
right, you're-
little kids. Like, I don't get to play golf anymore. I don't get vacations anymore. Like, my vacations are with my kids to like Disneyland, which is cool.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I made
Yeah,
those
it's
choices.
great.
I'm extremely
Sure.
happy with that choice. I sometimes think I'm like, I can't imagine if it was different, but you know, in the same token, like it would be cool as hell. Like the girls always make me sleep when they're falling asleep. They want me to sit in their room. Right. And I normally just read on my phone or scroll Facebook, hit up TikTok. Actually,
Yeah.
shout out, CCG is now on TikTok at
Hello.
CCG Poker. We will be posting some stuff this weekend. I might even give that TikTok out to like dealers, players. It might be like a community TikTok. I don't know if it's allowed to do that. So if that's against any kind of terms or regulations, I'm sorry. But I think TikTok would be super fun to be on as just a goof off. But anyways, at CCG Poker on TikTok. Like it would be so nice to be able to play like a little PLO action when I'm in their room for 15 minutes in the dark where all I have is my phone. Like that would be awesome. I would do that every night. I would slip in for, again, it's the ease of just sliding in for just 15, 20 minutes when you're at work, when you're on the bus, when you're commuting to and
that's
from.
what I was going to say. Ryan, when he was in London, he would play
online.
He would play online on the bus ride home, and they had these tournaments that like it was like 10 5-minute levels,
right.
And then the tournament was over, and you'd cash out. Like it was just a 50-minute.
Oh,
it's over.
What an interesting format.
And it's like it's over, and then like whatever your chips are, it's like a chip chop after 50 minutes.
So it's so funny. There's a guy who's been hitting me up on that exact tournament structure where like. But his
so
it was
time.
But his was that you just played down to the end, but it was like real money value. So like whenever you got into the money, if it was like 20%, so if it was a 100-person tournament, when you got down to 20, whatever you had in chips was dollar for dollar what you got paid out for. So like
that's cool.
If you bought a $200 tournament, you got $200 in chips, and then obviously the blinds started out like $1, $2, $3.
Yeah, they run
two,
the ACR
2, 3,
does
you know? It was a neat format. Anyways.
Yeah, so and it's just 50 minutes, and the ride home was like 45 minutes, and you just hop on there and do that every single day.
Nice.
And just like, but yeah, I'm at you're at the point where you aren't like. I think I can still like, spend 40 hours a week grinding online poker and trying to make $1 million. Like like those, not dreams, but those days are kind of over for you. You know what I mean? Like you can't do that. Like
those days are over for me.
Same thing with like you can't really go to the World Series and spend 3 weeks in Vegas.
Nope. Also
and grind
over for
the whole
me.
summer and like I've never done that. I'm 30 now. Like I got 5 more years to make that happen. Where I just want to spend a month in Vegas and just live that degenerate. Bring 100,000 out there and just like spin it up to 2 million or come home with 3,000. Like one or the other.
Yeah, it would be cool as shit.
Yeah, it would be. And so, like, I think the internet kind of gives you that little bit of hope.
Like,
I ain't ever been in a tournament. I mean, maybe, but if you only play 3 1650s a year when they come to the horseshoe, like,
the odds of you
winning one
are significantly smaller.
Right.
Whereas if you played every Sunday in the $100 Million Maker or whatever, I don't even know what they are because I don't look at them. But
it's the Sunday Million,
right? Like
which is like 136K.
I could literally, if it was even one rip at a time, I could play 52 tournaments in a year. Whereas the chances of me playing 52 tournaments anywhere a year is 0.
Never, yeah. I don't even play 50 tournaments a year.
No, it's 0. Whereas I could probably, in the old online days, I was probably playing closer to like 100 tournaments a year because I would play once a week for 5, 6, 7 hours and I would rip a ton of tournaments. And I would play cash game on the side while I was waiting. It would be like, all right, I got my Sunday, big tournament that I'm in for the small buy-in, $5, $10 huge payout, which is never going to happen live. And then you play cash game on the side. I normally would go broke, and then I'd have to really grind the tournament because I was out of cash and I couldn't get my credit card to put any more money on there.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that was like back against the wall. Like, I'm going to play good because I have to, because if I don't, I'm not going to be able to play for a couple of weeks. So that's neat. Although I'd still pick live. I can't give up the live poker. Plus, I never get to play. So I don't know what I'd pick. I'd pick golf. Can I pick golf?
No.
No. It's just one or the other.
One or the other.
So wrap it up, Brandon. Obviously, I think from this Episode 30, online versus live. It's really a player's choice. Some people really like the aspects of online, and other players really like the aspect of live. And I don't know if they cross over. They're almost kind of like cash game players and tournament players, where like there's a very few, I say of us, I'm one of them, that I'll play either and be perfectly content with, if I bust a tournament, I go play cash. If there's no tournament seed, I play cash. If you know what I mean, like I'm the one guy that'll do both. I think in poker, people are either cash game pros or they want to be tournament players, and there's really not a lot of crossover. Where I think online versus live, if you're if you're a true one side or the other, you're probably going to lean that way all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to people about the poker app a couple weeks ago, and he's like, "Dude, I want to be in the games. Like, I want to be talking to people. Like, I want to be living the game. Like, I don't want to sit." I don't want to sit at home with my 2 kids yelling at me and the TV on, the iPad's on, wife making dinner, getting yelled at because I didn't set the table in time, clicking buttons. Like, he's like, I don't want to do that. It's like, that's not poker to me. Like, that's a video game. And like, I think that's the number one seller for live is like, you can go out there and
get away
have
a little bit,
human interactions, and you're away from your life, and you're into your little bubble of poker. And, that's kind of it. And the experience of even with the live tournaments, like everybody goes on break at the same time. We talk about hands, and everyone's smoking cigarettes.
Everybody quick runs out. Yeah, for sure.
Get
a snack real quick.
Here, and and then it's it's stack updates, and you're running deep, and you got
how you doing, where you at? Yeah, it's
right.
Fun.
You talk about hands, and that is all just like such like I don't know, like kind of like a dopamine hit. Like it's kind of like
you
get really excited
100%.
for it. The internet. It's like, I'm going to save this hand history and talk to my coach about it later.
And again, I promise you, I give 0 trucks about your online. If you send me an online like screenshot, I'm not looking at it.
Right. And it's just
I might listen to your story at break because there's nothing else to do.
Correct. But I'm going to do it in the non-smoking section. But in general, it's just, I think the internet is more, it's definitely saturated these days, but it's more like bigger scores, more grinders. You have, if your hourly is $2
and if
you can play 5 tables, you're $10 hourly.
Yep. That's not bad. I mean, it's still below minimum wage, but yeah, I get what you mean.
You know what I mean?
It's fun to play with.
Correct. So in general, I'm picking online, but that's just because I had such a good experience with online.
Yeah, especially in our current time frame, right? Like with COVID and like so many casinos are still closed. I say casinos, I mean poker rooms. I don't mean casinos. Poker rooms are not opening. They're closed. They're small. It's a different aspect. Like now it's almost like another online boom. If online poker was legal at any time, like I wish that whoever wins in November, they could rip that stuff January 1 and be like, all right, all Poker Stars is legal. I mean, just regulate it. Like take the money. Like I would play... I'm with you. Like, I'm not a fan of playing like these gray sites because it's so like, I just don't want to deal with it. Like,
correct.
It's just me. It's just, I don't want to deal with it. Right. Like, I just don't want to deal with it. It was so nice, again, going with Full Tilt back in the day, which turned out to be a huge Ponzi scheme and definitely illegal. However, at the time, everybody thought it was kosher. Like, we knew it was cool. And it was great. Like you put money on, you got money right off. There was never that like it took 3 weeks to cash out. Like it would be nice to be able to get stuff in and out, kind of like sports betting is now. And like I've never really placed a bet, and now I find myself like putting on,
searching, putting $100 on.
I put $200 on DraftKings because they gave me 100% bonus. So I took my $400 and just. I'm still kind of running it up. I mean, I'm down. I think I've got like $40 left in there. But remember my huge sweat for the U.S. Open? I put $40 down on a guy that paid out like $4,200, and he was in first place going into the last day. Like I was.
How'd that happen? How'd that work out?
Yeah, I got nothing. He got second, and I only bet him to win. He got second, which is the first loser in my book.
Right.
But it's fun. Like that stuff I think is incredibly fun, and I think that's why online poker will be. Hopefully, it will eventually be legal all over the United States, which would be fun. It was great in the old days when you played Full Tilt and you're playing against people from all over the world, and you're playing these. I used to play these like $2 tournaments, and it was like 32 players or something. I don't know. It was super fun, but it was like 5-minute levels, and like it just kept like they were done in like 40 minutes. It was awesome.
I loved the $33 90 mans.
Maybe that's maybe
they had 90 mans, 45 mans, and 27 mans.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Well, anyways, that's going to do it for episode 30 of The Overlay. Let us know what your choice would be. Gun to your head. You got one choice left in life, live poker or online. What are you going to play? And clearly you know which side of the fence Brandon and I are on. If you ever want to play at CCG again, I vote that you pick my way. Otherwise, stay at home. Just kidding. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Anyways, thanks for listening, everybody. Remember, you can check us out on Twitter at @theoverlay_pod. I totally forgot.
That's correct.
It's been 3 weeks. I don't even remember. You can catch us at any CCG event. And Central Illinois peeps, you can always catch Brandon. Sometimes I make an appearance like I'm some kind of celebrity. And same deal in Texas. We're still going to get Brandon out into Texas sometime soon and experience some of those big, fat Texas PLO games.
I really am ready to just...
You say you miss live poker. Play a live PLO game in Texas. It is like PLO on steroids, which, let me tell you, is pretty crazy. It's like live wrestling on. It's nuts. Anyways, thanks for listening, everybody. Terrible. Brandon, send us off.
Farewell, guys. Stay safe. See you at CCG. 4-day weekend. We'll be right in the middle of it when this comes out.
Episode 30. And I kid you not, I literally just was looking at my email at 11:30. I knew we were close to 4,000 downloads. Literally, congratulations from Buzzsprout, who's our hosting for the Overlay podcast. Congratulations from Buzzsprout. 4,000 podcast downloads 1 hour ago today. That's insane.
Boom.
Thank you for listening. We, as always, will see you next time. May your cards be, I don't know. What's Mike Sexton saying? We should give him a shout out.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Monster Pots, take him down. Laugh in your opponent's face. See you next time, everybody. Bye.